Welcome back to my channel, guys. So as we all know that Premier League is finally back, but to be honest, I think the World Cup qualification wasn't that bad because we got some good result, and England are doing pretty well. So I think it is a good moment for you guys. So without any further ado, let's get to our Premier League match week 30 pro and prediction. So first game is Chelsea versus West Brom. To be honest, this game is a very important game for Chelsea because we all know that they are battling for top 4, and right now they are already top 4, but then they will have to somehow maintain and get good points because we all know that Chelsea this season against lower ranked teams, they do have a bad record because they can suddenly draw against them and something like that. So I think Chelsea will be eager to not repeat something like that over here because even in the last meeting in Premier League it was a 3-3 draw. Chelsea were 3-0 down and then Chelsea chased back 3-3. So I think Chelsea will be eager to not repeat something like that. On the other hand, West Brom, to be honest, I think their Premier League journey is done because their recent record is not that good and they have a lot of ground to make up. So I think it's going to be really difficult for them to survive. So Chelsea, once again, I think they will be eager to win this game, and I think they will be able to win this game with the quality they got. I think they will be a little bit tired because most of the players were playing international football, but I still think that they will be good enough to win this game. I'm gonna go for Chelsea 2, West Brom 0 over here. Leeds United versus Sheffield United. Leeds United, to be honest, they've been playing well recently, but then in terms of attack, I think I'm a little bit disappointed with the attack because it is not that good as it used to be like in the first half of the season. But then still, I think defensively this team is getting better and better, and the goalkeeper is actually excellent because the amount of shots they do face and the performance that he is giving, I think it is a good performance from him. So Leeds United against Sheffield United, Leeds United should be winning this game because Sheffield United, to be honest, they have nothing to play for. And for now, I think whatever Sheffield United are going to do, they will be trying to do something that they're going to do next season in the Championship because they have 9 matches to go. So I think it is better to focus on next season instead of this season because once again, it is all done and dusted because it is impossible for them to survive now. So therefore, I think Sheffield United, no matter what, they're going to be doing more experiments now because FA Cup is also gone. So I think they will be really focusing on the next season. And if they can get some momentum at the back end of the season, I think it will give them a lot of boost for the next season. But then for this game, I think Leeds United will be a little bit too strong. I'm going to go for Leeds United 3, Sheffield United 0. Leicester City versus Manchester City. This is another very good game to watch because when they first met this season, it was a really good game. Leicester City won 5-2. So I think Leicester City will be eager to repeat something like that because right now they are in top 4, but then we all know that their recent form is not that good. I mean, in terms of form, it is good, but then if you look at their performance, you will be a little bit scared because their performance is always, they're just getting their job done, not a convincing victories. On the other hand, Manchester City, we all know that they are sitting in a really comfortable position. They're 14 points ahead of Manchester United, so it is a really good position for them. So for Manchester City, I think they will be resting some of the key players because we all know that they'll have to play Dortmund. So I think Manchester City will be focusing more on that game. On the other hand, Leicester City, they got nothing to play for except for Premier League. So I think Leicester City will be going all out in this game. I think this game can be a draw because I have a feeling City will rest most of their players. That's why I'm actually gonna go for a draw. I think it is a big statement, but I just have a feeling that City will be resting most of their players because they are playing international football, and then they will be back. They'll have to play a really important game against Leicester City, and then against Dortmund is also another very important game. So I think Pep will be resting most of his players. So that's why I'm gonna go for a draw. I'm gonna go for Leicester City 2, City 2. To be honest, predicting City to lose this season or draw is a tough call, but then I just have a feeling that they might rest some of the players. So therefore, Leicester City 2, Manchester City 2. Arsenal versus Liverpool. To be honest, it is a very weird game because we are looking at a team, Arsenal, who are rising recently because we all know that in the last 2 or 3 seasons, this team did fall apart a little bit. But then now they got a lot of youngsters coming through, and then they got a really good manager and a really young manager, I should say. On the other hand, Liverpool, they were enjoying some really high standard football in the last 2 seasons, but then this season, they are a little bit falling apart. But then I'm not gonna say this team is gonna fall apart. Literally, I think it is just a bad season for them because they got a lot of injury issue. Like you can point out that a lot of issues they are having this season. But then I think after international break, both of these teams will be a little bit fresh. So I think they can have a new start. But then if you look at Arsenal, I think they've been playing some encouraging football. On paper, I think Liverpool do look stronger, but then if you look at form line, I think Arsenal do look stronger. So I think it is going to be a really tough game to watch, and I think both of these teams do have a chance. I think if Arsenal can win this game, it is going to be a really big victory for them, and I think it will give them a lot of confidence, and I think they will have some chance to maybe sneak into top 6. Yes, for now it looks a little bit difficult, but then it is possible. So for my prediction, after looking at Liverpool form line and Arsenal form line, I was 50-50, but Liverpool still do have a lot of injury issue. So therefore, I'm going to go for Arsenal. I'm going to go for Arsenal 1, Liverpool 0. It is a big statement, I think. But then if you look at how Arsenal performing this season and recently, if they can put on their best show, Arsenal can win this game. Southampton versus Burnley, this is a very important game, and I think both of these teams will be eager to get a win. In terms of relegation threat, I think it is not that much, because recently we all saw Fulham, they did fall apart a little bit, so I think that will give a lot of boost to the team like Newcastle, Brighton, Burnley and Southampton. But then still, I think both of these teams will be eager to get a win so that they can finish a little bit higher and get a little bit more prize money. In terms of form line, I think Burnley form line will be much better because they've been playing some decent football. If you look at the last 5 games, they only lost once, and it was against Tottenham. Other than that, they've been playing well. They were decent against West Brom, but I'm not going to say it was the best performance because West Brom were a man down, and still West Brom were a much better team. But then afterward, against Leicester, Arsenal and Everton, they played some really good football. So I think it was a really encouraging form line from them. On the other hand, Southampton, they've been doing well in FA Cup, but then if you look at the Premier League form line in the last 5 games, they are not performing that well. So I'm just worried about that. But generally, I think Southampton do have a little bit more class. But then Burnley, they've been performing well as well recently. So therefore, I'm going to go safe. I'm going to go for Southampton 1, Burnley 1. Newcastle versus Tottenham. This is another very important game for both of these teams because Newcastle, they will have to survive from the relegation. On the other hand, Tottenham, they got nothing to play for except for, I think, they got one of the trophy, and then they got Premier League only, and Europa League is gone. So I think it is a perfect opportunity for them to focus on top 4, and it looks pretty realistic for now because they've been performing well, but then they got a lot of ground to make up because Chelsea, West Ham, they've been performing well this season, and Leicester City are really ahead. So I think they got a lot of work to do. In terms of form, I think Newcastle, they've been playing some decent football, but then they lost 3-0 against Brighton, and it was a really good performance from Brighton, and it was a really terrible performance from Newcastle. So I'm just worried about that. But then generally, I think their players are going to be more fit because most of their players didn't had any international matches compared to Tottenham because many of the players did leave for the international games. But then I just think that Mourinho will be eager to get his job done and win the game over here. It is going to be difficult, but then I think at the end of the day, Tottenham will win this game. I'm going to go for Tottenham 2, Newcastle 0. Aston Villa versus Fulham. This is a big game, and it is a very important game for both of these teams. Aston Villa, to be honest, I think they will be focusing on top 10, but then it looks pretty difficult because the way Leeds are looming up and Crystal Palace, they've been performing well. So I think it is going to be difficult for them to survive in top 10, but then it is still possible because they are still 2 points ahead and with a game in hand. So they do have a lot of things going on their way. But then in terms of form line, I think it is not going on their way because they are not really performing well recently. If you look at the last 5 games, they got 5 points, and I'm not going to say all those 5 games were a good performance because they've been scoring 1 goal or like literally no goals in the game. So I think it is not a good thing from them. So I think they will be eager to change that over here against a team like Fulham, who have a lot to play for recently because they still are in the relegation zone, and their form line did dip down a little bit recently because in the last 4 games they only got 3 points. So I think they will be eager to change that over here. It is going to be a difficult game. I think both of these teams do have a chance, but then I'm happy to go with, it's a big statement. I did thought about this for a while, but I'm going to stick with Fulham. I think Fulham might just get their job done. It is going to be really difficult. I know I do sometimes underestimate Aston Villa, but then like things are not going well for Aston Villa. And if you look at Fulham, their form line is not that good, but then their opposition were tough. So therefore, I'm gonna stick with Fulham. I'm gonna go for Fulham 1, Aston Villa nil. Man United versus Brighton. This is a very important game for both of these teams, especially Brighton, because if they want to survive the relegation, they'll have to win this game. On the other hand, Manchester United, I think they will be eager to stay in the second position. Of course, they want to go to first position, but then it looks pretty difficult. But then for this game, I think Man United have been performing well. But then their performance against Leicester was not their good performance. They were really sleepy, I'd say, because they were not doing much movement in that game, and it was a really terrible performance from them. Like generally, I think it was one of their worst performance recently. On the other hand, Brighton, I think they've been playing some decent football. Like recently, we noticed they are trying to sit back instead of attack, and I think it is working really well. So I think Brighton will be happy to let Manchester United come at them, but then I think at the end of the day, things will get difficult because we all know that Manchester United do have a little bit more quality, and therefore I'm gonna go for Man United 2, Brighton nil. Everton versus Crystal Palace. This is a very tricky game because both of these teams can get a lot of unexpected results, especially Everton, because they were really performing well. But then if you look at the last three games, the performance was not their best one. But then I think against Manchester City, they lost 2-0 in the FA Cup, but still, it was their good performance. They did push Manchester City a lot, but then at the end, they couldn't hold on. So I think it was still a better performance from them. On the other hand, Crystal Palace, I think recently they've been performing well. This team is really alive recently. So it is going to be a really tough game for Everton. So I think it's going to be a tight game. And whenever these two sides met each other, or generally when they play against each other, it is difficult to predict because a lot of weird result can happen. But then I think this time around, after a long break, Everton will be a little bit fresh. So therefore, I think Everton might just get a good result out of this game. So I'm going to go for Everton 1, Crystal Palace nil. West Ham versus Wolves. As a Wolves fan, I think it is a very important game for us because things are not going well for us this season. But then still, I think recently we've been performing well. I'm not going to say we're at our best, but then if you look at our form line, we've been playing against Liverpool and City. And to be honest, we did play well against both of these teams, but then we were just unfortunate. But then against West Ham, I think it's also going to be difficult because this season they've been performing really well. But then if you look at the last 5 games, their form line did dip down a little bit, but then the opposition were tough. So I think it is understandable. So it is going to be a really different game to watch and very weird game to watch. But I think at the end of the day, maybe as a Wolves fan, we can sneak in a point, and I think it is going to be already very important for us. A win is a bonus, but then I think it is going to be difficult for us to win this game. So therefore, from a prediction, I'm going to go for typical Wolves result. I'm going to go for Wolves nil, West Ham nil. So that's the end for Premier League Match Week 30 Peru and prediction. So I'll see you guys soon with the Champions League prediction as well, because we are entering quarterfinal stages and there are some really good games coming up. So without any further ado, I won't waste your time. I'll see you guys next time.